Welcome to Suite 301. Thank you for joining us. We're into June, so it's an important episode for us here. Got a lot to get to. But as you know, it's our behind-the-scenes look of all the Call Club sports leagues. We are officially live on Facebook, so you can now watch all of our broadcasts on our Suite 301 page and on our Facebook group pages. Remember to follow our Facebook group, Twitter, and Flickr for the latest news and media. Also subscribe to the Call Club Sports YouTube channel for videos from around the league and other previous episodes of Suite 301. Like I said, we have a lot to get to. We're going to talk to all the national championship winning teams. So we have a lot to get into. So let's get started with softball and get Savannah Aarons on the line. And we will talk softball World Series.
Hello.
Hello, Savannah. How are you? Welcome to Suite 301.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's June, so you know how June is.
You're alive.
Yes,
so
exactly. So I want to get right into it. Let's talk about softball World Series. How did things go?
It was an awesome event. We had to deal with a little bit of rain, but I would say, from my personal opinion, I think it was probably the most competitive field of teams we've ever had. So it was a really exciting tournament where, games were back and forth. 24 pool play games played, and only 3 of them were run rules. So each game, could have went to anybody, and that kind of was the way it was across the board, which was exciting to see. I think in the past maybe we've had a few weak links, but I couldn't have picked those out this time.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's the parity of the league going forward. And I mean, was there any surprise teams that you had down there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest story going from pool play day into double elimination would have been Central Michigan's basically their Cinderella story. They had never competed in the postseason at all. They had never made regionals. They had never made the World Series. They go through regionals to the World Series, go in as the number 16 seed into pool play, and finish pool play going into double elimination as the number 1 seed.
Wow.
Huge accomplishment for those ladies, and they actually ended up making it to Sunday, which is, a goal that teams, even the teams that I've played on strive for and are still striving for. Making those final 6 teams at the World Series is very, very hard to do. And they did that along with Northeastern, Florida State, JMU, Arkansas State, and obviously our winner, Naval Academy. So big props to Northeastern, too. Last year was their first World Series appearance, and they went 2-0 in double elimination. This year they battled through and made it to that Sunday, that huge accomplishment, that final 6. So that's a huge accomplishment on their part as well. And great to see the final 4 teams, 3 of them being Florida State, JMU, Arkansas State, all have won a World Series before.
Wow.
And Naval Academy is the one team of that group that had not. So really exciting to come out and see them win their very first ever World Series. They've competed, in quite a few of them and battled their way through. So I'm glad they were able to get it done.
Yeah, and we'll have, speaking of the Naval Academy, we will have their head coach, Roxanne, on to talk about their experience. But, as you mentioned, they had been there before but never won a national championship, so hats off to them. As far as the World Series goes, you are under contract, I guess, for future World Series. We are under contract with Columbus to go back there, correct?
Yes, through 2020.
Awesome. Well, I know firsthand, and obviously you know and your staff know how great of a staff the Columbus Sports Council is, and the venue's top-notch. So I know the teams will be excited to know that the home of the World Series is in, I guess you can say, safe hands for the next few years.
Absolutely.
Final pools. I'm assuming the Naval Academy ended up as the number 1 team in the final pool?
They absolutely did. And that with those final 6 teams in the top 6, Central Michigan obviously jumping all the way from number 16 to number 5 in the country. So,
wow.
Again, hats off to them.
Well, good for that. Hopefully they can take that momentum into next year.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the goal. You get your team there, and you get to see and feel what it's like, and to know that that kind of competition is what you have to strive towards all season long, you kind of get an idea of what to strive for. And that's exactly what Northeastern did, from last year to this past, this current season. They worked their butts off. They knew exactly what they needed to do to make that final six, and they did it. So
perfect.
But yeah, Naval Academy had been ranked number one quite a few months in a row. I think everyone recognized their prowess this season and expected them to do well at the World Series. So it's surprising in an exciting way that they won, because it's their first ever, but no surprise because they were super competitive this year all season long.
Oh, I didn't know that. I figured Arkansas State would have been that number one team going through, but well, that's good. That's great that they were the team that everybody recognized, and they finished the season as the number one team. So hats off to them, and again, we'll talk to Roxanne here in a little bit, but before we get to Roxanne, talk about All-Americans. Those are out and posted?
Yes. We've this was the first ever year that we did all region teams, and those got posted leading up to the World Series, the week of the World Series. All 8 of those all region teams. That was exciting to see this year for the first time ever. And then our All-Americans just came out last week. Yep. And so for the first time ever, all 8 regions had someone recognized of those 36 players honored, and 19 teams were recognized in that national All-Americans list. So I think that is a huge testament as to how competitive the league has gotten countrywide. Like, literally, there is someone from every part of the country listed on this list, and that's a testament to how competitive we are now. So
good. That's
I'm
awesome.
really excited to see that. It's all blind voting. Nobody knows who the players are or who the teams are that they're representing. It's literally just looking at numbers.
Absolutely.
When the panel picks it. So it was really exciting to come out and see them come out that way. A testament to the league and the way it's growing.
Well, perfect. Last thing I want to talk to you about softball-wise, is there any housekeeping items? What are teams needing to get in paperwork-wise, that kind of stuff?
Just a handful of the teams that are missing their league participation agreements. That's to renew your participation in the league for the upcoming season. We'll be starting realignment in July, so if we don't have that, your team will probably be left out. And then registration forms, which is where we update your team's contact information for the upcoming season as well. Those are huge, huge pieces. And you guys will have received the league meeting voting ballot, which went out yesterday. That is due on the 28th, next Thursday. So please make sure you guys cast your votes on that. It determines, the shape of the league for upcoming seasons. It's important.
Very important. Anything else, Savannah?
I think I'm excited to hear what Roxanne has to say, and congratulations again to the Naval Academy and to Corey Sorensen on her MVP win. That was huge. Awesome.
Well, we will we'll get in touch with Roxanne, but thank you for everything you do, and I know it's the busy time is somewhat subsided, so enjoy your time off, so to speak, and congrats on a great year in the NCSA.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye, Savannah. Another great year in the NCSA. We're going to get to Roxanne, the head coach of the U.S. Naval Academy, who won the 2018 NCSA World Series, here just in a little bit. So we're excited to get to talk to her. Hopefully she will be coming through any second now, and that's probably her. Hi, is this Roxanne?
Hi, how are you?
Good. This is Christian Smith. Welcome to Suite 301. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, obviously, congratulations on the national championship.
Thank you.
You're absolutely
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Talk to us. I know it was your first year as a head coach at the U.S. Naval Academy. I know the Naval Academy had been to the Softball World Series in years past, but probably for a lot of the girls, it was their first time being at the national championship. What was the experience like down in Columbus, Georgia for you guys?
This year it was, I want to say it was kind of a dream come true for a lot of these girls, especially the way it all played out. Last year they kind of fell short in the regional tournament, so they were really hungry to fight and get to that national stage and play some of these competitive teams that we've been kind of watching throughout the course of the year. Yeah, so it was a fantastic experience. NCSA put on a great tournament. Yeah, it was
good.
Everything that we were hoping for and more.
Yeah, I mean, it's our job to make the experience as great for you guys as possible, and it sounds like that was the case. As far as the championship game goes, you're going up against Arkansas State, who I'm sure you knew was the defending national champion. What kind of game plan did you guys have going into that game?
Well, we just wanted to make sure that we attacked right away, got the bats going early, and then just played some tight defense, which the girls accomplished. Small ball helped out as well. They were really on their game that particular game, and were focused and ready to leave it all out on the field.
And this being your first year as the head coach, what kind of things did you learn as a coach? The girls, I know it being your first year, you learned different things about, how girls play and things like that. So how was your first year as an experience as the head coach of the U.S. Naval Academy Club softball team?
I think I learned a lot. I've coached high school before, but I haven't coached at this level. And the leadership on this team in particular was just phenomenal, and it made coaching much easier. They really take ownership of the team, and they know what they want. They go after it right away, and their skills were just phenomenal. Having a pitching staff of 5 different girls was something new for me, and it kind of blew me away the first couple weeks of the season that I had so much depth. And one of my favorite things about this team is how well they work together. They've got each other's back no matter what. There's no drama with the team. There's no animosity. It's just they're out there supporting each other 100%. And
just an amazing group of girls.
Out there to enjoy the game. Yeah, they're really a special group.
Perfect. And I want to talk briefly. Your MVP. I obviously wasn't down at the World Series, but your MVP. And forgive me if I say your name incorrectly. I have it down on the script. What is her first name? Sorry.
Corey. Sorensen.
Yeah, talk about Corey's performance down at the softball World Series. Was it throughout the course? How many games did she pitch? Was it a throughout the entire event, or did she just come through in the championship game? Talk about her performance a little bit.
Corey, throughout the year, she's been a tremendous leader for this team. I don't think I've met another pitcher who is as calm, cool, collected, and unable to shake than Corey. She's just phenomenal. She's a great repertoire of pitches, and she knows what the team needs, and she knows how to get them there. She pitched the majority of our games over the course of the national tournament. So actual stats I know I have written down, but she's just. We are very lucky to have her on the team.
That's a good way to put it.
I have to say that.
There you go. Now, as far as next season, this is kind of what I want to. Last question I have for you. Obviously, you guys want to repeat. Do you have a lot of girls coming back? Is it a realistic thing that you guys will repeat as national championships in 2019?
Well, we'd like that to happen. We graduated 3 seniors this year, and we have 2 seniors going into the fall season. Corey and Erin Torres, who are phenomenal leaders, and I have every trust in them that they will get us there.
Well, perfect, and we hopefully we will see you down in Columbus again next year. And Roxanne, congratulations again on winning the 2018 National Championship, and wish you guys the best of success for 2019.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Roxanne.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Well, congratulations to the U.S. Naval Academy on their 2018 National Championship at the Softball World Series. A great job by them and all the teams that were present down at the event. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back to talk some NCBA baseball.
The game is the official headwear sponsor of Cold Club Sports. They offer an early order discount to all of our leagues on top of their already low prices. Go to thegameheadwear.com and check out their wide selection of on-the-field hats, off-the-field boonies, beanies, and visors. Contact Felicia Battaglia at coldclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Avis is the proud rental car partner of Cold Club Sports. From compact cars to 15-passenger vans, Avis has it all. Teams and players receive exclusive pricing and the waiver of the 25 or younger driver fee. For more information on how to reserve your vehicles, contact Alex Kane today. alex.kane@coldclubsports.com.
Welcome back. We're going to get into the baseball portion of our show. We see, obviously, Garrett on set. We're going to get into D3, D2, and D1. Get to talk to some different coaches and things like that from the different respective leagues. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with NCBA Division III. First and foremost, I want to congratulate you on your recent promotion to Director of Division III Baseball Operations.
Thank you. Looking forward to the opportunity to work with the D3 teams and kind of get to know all of them and push D3 to the next level.
Perfect, man. We know you're the right man for the job. That being said, I know you weren't at the Division III World Series. Alex Kane ran that event. From everything we understand, it was a great event at Showers Field in Du Bois, Pennsylvania. But I believe he briefed you on, how things went. So give us a little idea of how the Division III, the inaugural Division III World Series actually played out.
Yeah, so went great. Number one seed was University of New Hampshire, undefeated the whole season, really kind of step above everybody. Then there was Adrian College, who was 18-3 going into the World Series. West Georgia, number 3, and then Missouri S&T at number 4. First two games, Adrian and New Hampshire both kind of handled themselves. And then, according to what Alex told me, is Game 2 between Adrian and New Hampshire was one of the best games of the World Series. It was a 1-0 game. The MVP, Kyle Stratton, actually threw a 2-hit shutout against New Hampshire to kind of push Adrian into the championship game. Then New Hampshire got a rematch with Missouri S&T, beat them 7-6. Then another barn burner in the championship game with Adrian taking it 4-0 over New Hampshire to win the first ever Division III World Series.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded from everything that I heard, it sounded like a great event. There were some competitive games. The field, Showers Field, from everything that I heard from Alex, I know he said parents, fans, teams just absolutely loved the field.
Yeah, a lot of guys reached out to me saying they loved it, asking if we were going back there or not, and just really loved the atmosphere there.
Well, good. And for all the D3 teams out there, this was our first year, and we expect to improve on that each and every year, just like we do with Division II and Division I. We try and get better. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, we were only signed for a year, but who knows? We can go back to Du Bois, maybe somewhere else. But as soon as we figure that out, which will be hopefully sooner rather than later, we're obviously going to let all the teams know. I think we're going to get the Brent Greenwood, who's the head coach of Adrian College, on the phone to get, I guess, a team's perspective on how the event went. So once he comes through, we'll be able to talk to him and get an idea of what they thought. But there we go. Hi, this is Brent.
Yep.
Hi, Brent. Christian Smith and Garrett Seamek. Welcome to Suite 301.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. First and foremost, congratulations on winning the inaugural Division III national championship. And Garrett and I were just kind of talking. Both of us weren't present at the event, but it seemed like it was an awesome experience. Could you tell us, your firsthand experience at the event?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience all the way around. From the moment we arrived in DuBois, the city was great. I mean, the hotel we stayed in was awesome. The field was incredible. All turf, everything, had the video boards. The city was very welcoming. The restaurants were great. They even gave us a discount for the hotel we stayed in, which the guys enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a great experience. The weather cooperated and everything.
Awesome. Talk about this team you have. I believe, is it their
first year in the league?
That's an impressive feat, being a first-year club baseball program and winning a national championship. What made this team so special?
Yeah, so it was our first year. We met for the first time back in September. And when we met in September, it was kind of a bunch of individuals. We had about 30 guys, kind of from all over the place. Some of the guys I brought in as freshmen. Some of the guys had come down from our NCAA team. And then some of the guys just enjoyed baseball and came from the school. But as we played through our season, you could definitely tell that they grew together as a team, and became a great group of friends. And everyone kind of bought into their role as the season went along, which was great.
That's great to hear, Brent. So just I obviously worked with you a lot this year, and you guys were a great team the whole year, only losing one game to a Division III team that was in your district playoff. Did you guys have any kind of mindset going into the World Series, knowing you were going to face a team like New Hampshire that hadn't lost the whole year, and what your challenges would be facing them?
Yeah, it was definitely tough going into the World Series because the teams were obviously not local. We didn't really have any similar opponents. New Hampshire, they were a great ball club. I mean, they fielded the ball. They could definitely swing it. They, like you said, they hadn't lost a game all year. I mean, we definitely knew that going in. It was great because our guys, they showed up, right at the right time. In the World Series, our pitchers ended up, not giving up a run in 21 innings, and they only gave up 8 hits, which is obviously awesome.
Talk to me more specifically about, your individual guys on the team. You had Kyle Stratton threw a 2-hit shutout in the semifinal, but was this a team that was led by seniors? Was it leadership by committee? Talk about the ins and outs of the team this past year.
Pretty good mix as far as the age group goes. I would say we were probably pretty junior heavy, if anything. Mark Cash was our ace all year. He ended up throwing just about 50 innings. He started 8 games. He was 8-0, had a 1.87 ERA, and he struck out 46 batters. From an offensive standpoint, Brandon Milligan was probably our leader. He hit .394 for the year. His on-base percentage was .450, and his slugging percentage was .636. We are returning just about everyone. We lost a key arm in Scott Szyminski. He ate up a lot of bullpen innings for us. And then we're losing a pretty big bat in Tyler Cairo. He was our 4-hitter pretty much the entire year.
Great, and I know we're trying. I believe Garrett or Alex have talked to you, but getting you guys up to the Division II level. If we're able to find you some room up there, but if we are able to make that happen, is that something that you're excited about, or is it something that you're more so wanting to get getting your feet wet, staying in the Division III level, or are you embracing that opportunity to get up to the Division II level?
Oh, I definitely think we're going to embrace the move up to Division II. I've kind of told a few of the guys. I haven't told all of them, but I think they're really excited. We played in that Battle Creek Blast tournament at the beginning of the year, which was comprised of D2 and D1 teams. and we went 2-2 in that tournament. I mean, and we definitely competed. We beat a good Grand Valley team, and I believe we beat Kent State as well. So I think we can definitely hang. I mean, obviously it'll be probably a little bit better competition, but I think our guys are ready to compete next year for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Brent, just my question, but at what point this year could you tell that you had a special team moving forward and that you were capable of winning the World Series?
Honestly, it was probably towards the beginning of the year. I mean, like I said, that tournament we went in, and obviously it was our first games ever. And to go 2-2 against the Division II and the Division I teams, I could kind of tell right away that we were going to definitely have a good squad. But then as the regular season kind of went on in the district, as we started playing the district games, and we were winning by 8, 10, 12 runs for all of those conference games, I started to realize that we had a really, really good team. So.
Well, Brent, talk about, I guess one of the last questions I have for you is next year. It sounds like you're graduating a few key pieces, but you said you were led primarily by juniors. Talk about the team next year. I mean, what do you expect for 2019?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we're returning. We lost a few key pieces, but for the most part, we're returning a good group of core guys. The entire pitching staff is pretty much coming back from last year, and they all threw a lot of innings for us this year. Losing, like I said, Tyler Cairo in left field, that'll be a decent loss. But we had some utility guys that kind of bounced around the entire year that are ready to jump in, next year. And also, I mean, from the freshman class that I have coming in, also, I think that we've got some freshmen that are ready to jump in right away and contribute as well. So I think they're going to be ready to go.
All right. Thank you for all your help here, Brett. It was great talking with you. Congrats again on winning the World Series at Division III level.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brent. That was congratulations to Brent and the Adrian College team for winning that inaugural Division III World Series. I believe we're going to transition right into Division II and talk about the Division II World Series. Unfortunately, Eric, who can't be here, he's over in Italy for not his honeymoon, but his anniversary. So he's not able to be here, so we will do our best to kind of illustrate how that event went. Let's talk. I mean, you were down at the Division II World Series. You talk about your experience, what you thought, how it went. It was your first time being out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was my first time actually being at a World Series event, but it was fantastic event, fantastic environment. Having Pitt State, it was their backyard, their home field essentially. Being there, the town really embraced them, came out to everything. And then they actually they won on a walk-off in the second game of the tournament, and which really got the crowd pumped up. There were news people there interviewing the players.
Cool.
And after that, we really saw an increase in locals showing up to games.
Yeah, I saw Eric send me a picture of the championship game.
Yeah. And
it was a pretty cool looking picture. I mean, just the amount of fans that were there, and after talking with Eric and you and Sandy, people that were at the event, it was definitely a great experience. And anytime you get to play in front of that many people, it makes it that much better. Not unfortunately, Pitt State did not come out on top. They made it to that championship game. San Diego State defeated them. It was an excellent championship game.
Yeah, it was
correct?
13-10 was the final score. It was just lots of hits, lots of runs. I think it was only 2 half innings throughout the entire game didn't have runs scored in them. It was pretty much Pitt State started off in the top of the first inning, getting on top, and then it was back and forth, pretty much trading the leads the rest of the game until San Diego State figured out the pitching and shut down Pitt State for the last 2 innings to hold on to the win.
And were there any surprising games, surprising teams out there?
So Longwood, who was the number 8 seed, was probably the biggest surprise. They dropped the first game of the tournament to Cal U, the number 1 seed, but then bounced back by beating South Dakota State in an elimination game, then sent home the number 1 team in Cal U, and then they actually defeated Pitt State in the first semifinal game to force an if necessary game. So they were kind of the big surprise, and they drew a lot of buzz because they actually had Ric Flair give them a shout out on Twitter beforehand. But I would say they definitely gave a great performance, and kind of tell that their pitching weared on them, having to play all the extra games, but they were a great team out there.
In San Diego State, they're a relatively new program in the league, and I believe last year they lost in regionals and obviously built off that. But talk about, their performance as a team out there.
Yeah, they were the complete team, and you could tell from the first game they played, they could hit, they could field, they could pitch. They just made sure they did all the little things, and they gave you a mistake, they took advantage right away and didn't look back from there. So they kind of really just dominated, and everyone could tell that you had to have your best game to be able to beat them.
Gotcha. And I know we were hoping to get the head coach of San Diego State, Mike Podani, on the line. Unfortunately, he was unable to join us today, but I know he sent over a quote that he wanted to share with the viewers. So.
Yeah. So this is coming directly from Mike Podani. Winning the World Series was a dream come true for us. Since we formed the team 2 years ago, we often joked around about going to Pittsburgh, but it was always so far away and still a dream back then. Then in our first year, we made the regional playoffs as an at-large recipient, unfortunately going 2-0, but at that point we knew we were only a few players away from being a World Series competitor. That's exactly what happened. We added 4+ freshman pitchers and our All-American catcher and hit the ground rolling. Only losing 3 games all season and going 7-0 in playoffs capped our amazing run. It was a complete collective effort, and we really couldn't have done it without everyone. We'd like to thank the NCBA and especially Eric Curatow for putting on such a great tournament and league. It was an amazing experience at JC Ballpark. For the original players on our team, it was one of our main goals to make it to D1 before we graduated, and now most of us will be able to play at that level next season. We're looking forward to the competition and hope we will be hoisting the trophy in Holly Springs next year.
Wow. Well, great job reading that.
Yeah.
Eric Curator is who he was.
My apologies, Eric.
To say. But yeah, Eric, from everything I understood, put on a fantastic event. The city of Pittsburgh, who we've been there for several years now. I don't even know how many years it's been. I know it's that area, that time of year. Weather plays a factor, and we're lucky enough to have the Pittsburgh State varsity field available to us, which played a big role in us being able to stay on schedule. So thank you to the city of Pittsburgh and all the hospitality, and having Pitt State in the national championship obviously made the experience really, really great for all the ball players. So congratulations to San Diego State. We hope to get you guys up into Division I. I know you guys automatically qualified, but we do have to figure out some realignment in that area. But we will do our best to try and get you into the Division I league. I want to talk about final pools, assuming San Diego State finished as the number 1 team. But
yeah, San Diego
how did the rest of the top 20
took
fare?
number 1, Pitt State number 2, St. Joe's number 3, and then Cal U, who was the number 1 team for the whole year, dropped all the way down to 4. Then Longwood 5, Metro State at 6, 7 was Siena, and 8 was South Dakota State, and that's kind of the pull from all the teams that were in the World Series and how they end up shaking out.
Yep, absolutely, and that's usually how it works. But All-Americans, I know those were released. Looks like you have those listed here.
So there's first and second team All-Americans, and
these are the Rawlings
All-American
All-American teams.
There were 14 teams that represented the 2 teams, which is lots of diversity, which you love to see. Metro State and actually the World Series champion San Diego State had the most representatives. Metro State had 4 and San Diego State had 3. So it was great seeing them kind of why they were the best teams in the league and leading the way on that.
Absolutely. You're also not only the new director of Division III baseball operations, but you're also director of new team development.
Correct.
What kind of new teams do we have on officially in? What kind of teams are you talking to?
So we have officially Creighton University, University of Houston Downtown are both officially in. Millersville University just received LPA from them, so they're going to be joining. And then multiple teams like Hobart College, Rochester Institute of Technology, and Abilene Christian are all pretty much on the verge of finishing paperwork and trying to get that pushed across their club sports director.
Got it. I don't know if Eric passed along any league updates for you, but I'm assuming it's kind of the same thing across the board.
Yeah, it's get your LPAs in, make sure you get all your paperwork done, submitted to us so we can get ready for the 2018-2019 season.
Perfect. Yeah, if you're a team out there, the big thing, LPAs are due, and we need that paperwork in order for us to get you back into the league for the 2018-19 season. Another big form is that registration form. It's essential that we have the correct contact information for the teams because there's a ton of things going out this summer. I know it's technically the off season, but lots of important things coming out. Fall tournaments, different scheduling things. So make sure you're checking your emails regularly and make sure we have the updated contact information. So Eric's not here, but if he were here, we'd congratulate him on a great Division II season. He did a great job. Seems like the national championship event was a huge success. So again, congratulations to San Diego State. And I think we're going to transition to you interviewing me about Division I.
So we're back in Holly Springs, North Carolina. How do you think the World Series went? Any big surprises?
Holly Springs was just a fantastic city. Ting Stadium was a fantastic venue. I was happy that this year we had 6 new teams that got to experience how great of a venue Ting Stadium was. The only repeaters being Penn State, the eventual national champions, and East Carolina, the national runners-up. So it's good for those teams to really experience that. We're really, really hoping and crossing our fingers we're able to get a contract done with Holly Springs to get back to them in 2019 and beyond. So be sure to check back to the website regularly, social media regularly. We will be hopefully announcing, where we're going in 2019 as soon as possible. But yeah, it was a fantastic event. We had a lot of, if you want to call them, big name universities. The Penn State, East Carolina, Florida State, Wisconsin.
Oregon was out there.
Oregon,
from West Coast.
Iowa State, Texas A&M, Grand Canyon. I think I rattled them all off right there. But a lot of big-name universities that people were familiar with if you didn't know club baseball or you were local that kind of just stumbled to Ting Stadium. So from that sense, it was nice having, some bigger-named universities competing. I thought it was a great event. I thought games were competitive. We did run into some weather issues. But the field held up well. I mean, it has a dirt mound, so you can only really play as long as that dirt mound holds up. And I thought the mound held up really well, especially that Monday when it rained pretty much all day. So the field's great. The city really welcomes us. We're right outside Raleigh, so it's just a great, from top to bottom, left to right. It's just a great event, and the teams I think really enjoyed it. I think they had a great time.
Yeah, it seemed like everything went really well. Transitioning to the Demery Long Ball Challenge, how did that go? And
it went well. Last year, the 2017, it was tough to top that one. I think we had 114 or 115 home runs hit that year. I don't know. I think the air was a little more dead this year. I only think we had 39 home runs. But we had some great performances, like Tommy Kim from North Texas. First round, I believe he hit 11, and he walked off to. He probably should have, walked off a little earlier. But yeah, I mean, he walked off to a standing ovation after his round, and Zach Browsley, who eventually won it, he was that guy that was consistent. Would just hit a couple, make it to the next round, hit a couple, make it to the next round, and in the final round. I believe he hit 3 right in a row. Tommy Kim had 2, and he hit Zach Browsley hit 3 right in a row to capture the title. It was exciting. It's always exciting. A lot of teams out there watching their representative in it, so it's a good time from that sense. So yeah, it was successful, and Zach took home a custom Demery bat. I don't know if he, Joe, he got that design in. He did. So Zach got his design in, and as soon as we get that artwork, I'm sure we will show it off to you. So it's a nice prize winning that as well.
Yeah. And once again, had a fantastic championship game. Lots of suspense.
Yeah, and we'll talk to Brett more about it in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was we talked last year how successful 2017 was and how tough it would be to top the event. Last year the national championship game went into extra innings. It was a 1-0 game, pitchers duel with East Carolina eventually winning it. Tanner Duncan winning the national champion, the MVP. He's now in professional baseball, so it was just this perfect storm that happened in 2017, and something that would be hard to replicate in 2018 or top in 2018. But quite honestly, I mean, the championship, the event was great, but I also thought this championship game to last year's championship game, it would be an argument.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would probably argue that this national championship game was better than last year's championship game, especially from Penn State's standpoint. I mean, they were a team that was down, I think, to its final 6 outs.
Yeah, they were down by
3
three in the
runs,
8th, scored 3.
Score 3 to tie it up, and then go down again 2 runs in the top of the 9th with 3 outs left. And then not only that, in the bottom of the 9th, the leadoff batter gets out. Then I think it was walk.
They scored all 3 runs with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Yes, yeah. Bases loaded, single, scored 2, and then Fitzgerald hits the single to win it. So, I mean, it was just one of those games where Penn State could have easily packed it in and said, hey, we made it to the national championship game. We're playing a great team. Oh, well. But they stuck with it, and it was an incredible game right to the very end. So that's what we're hoping. What you hope the game's going to be like. And it was a great atmosphere. Obviously, like Pitt State at D2, East Carolina is only about 90 minutes away from Holly Springs. So they came out and made a great showing. So it was a good national championship game, and I think we're going to get Brett on the line, the head coach of Penn State. Is this Brett?
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Christian Smith. How are you?
Hi, Christian. Good. How about you, man?
Doing well. Welcome to Sweet 301. I'm also here with Garrett. Want to first just congratulations to you on winning the national championship. We were just talking about how incredible of a game the national championship game was, but just want to say congratulations. Hats off to you, man.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you guys and what you guys ran, and it was a fun experience.
We'll talk about your experience. I mean, we released the bracket, and you guys, your first game, your opening game, is against East Carolina. What after that bracket came out, what was the response from the guys after you saw your opening game was going to be against the defending champs?
Our guys were pretty psyched about it. We had played ECU earlier in the year. We decided to make that an annual thing. We're on our way down to spring training. We stopped in Greenville, and we didn't really have the outcome that we wanted. It was our first game of the year when we went down there, and I think a lot of guys have a bit of a chip on their shoulder going into it. I think we lost to them last year in the semifinal game in the World Series, so that was a chip on our shoulder. We played them again, another chip on our shoulder. So the guys were itching to get at it, and for us to get that draw was just added to the drama of it all. It was fun when we first got there. We saw a couple of their guys, and just the camaraderie in general. I mean, between the two teams, we've kind of created a little bit of a rivalry just for us going down each year. So
I would agree.
And the experience in all, I mean, you can't say enough about the venue, about the
the locals that come out to the games, we had a huge fan base with hats off to the Fund and Triangle, Alumni Association chapter for Penn State. Our Alumni Association is unreal, and for them to come out and support us was awesome. So our experience was amazing. Started off great and ended even better.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange how it kind of all played out. I mean, your first game of the year is against ECU. Your opening game of the World Series is against ECU, and then you obviously finish, as in the national championship game against ECU, and I just want to get into the national championship game because it was such an incredible game. You guys jumping out, I think in the fourth inning up 2-0, and then going down 5-2. And Garrett and I were just talking. I believe at that point you only had 6 outs left in your season, and you're down 3 runs, and you could have easily packed it in at that point. But you guys didn't. You rallied, and you scored 3 runs in that bottom half of the inning. And then you go down again 2 runs in the top of the 9th with 3 outs left. And then in the bottom of the 9th, you rally again and win the national championship. So just talk about that game, your experience. What was the dugout like when you were down, when you tied it back up? Kind of give us your firsthand experience of what that was like on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So the dugout has been unreal this whole year. We actually came up with the idea of sending some guys out to the bullpen at the beginning of every game and starting them out there just in case something were to happen. We actually went against that and decided to inconvenience ourselves if necessary to keep everybody in the dugout. So it's 99% of the time a positive dugout. I think the only adversity in terms of dugout atmosphere that we had was that 4-run, what was that, the 5th inning or 6th inning that they had, or something like that. They had a 4-run inning, and things got a little pesky in the dugout, and we all kind of had to tell ourselves to calm down. And once that happened, we put up a couple of zeros, but we were hitting the ball well. We were getting through innings quick in the field, and we've said it the whole year that we're a 9-inning team, and the games that we lost, I think we had 4 losses all year. One of them was a 9-inning game, if I remember correctly. So we were really confident that at some point we were going to string a couple hits together. We were starting to get some really good hacks on a couple of their pitching, and those last 2 innings were. There's no words to describe those last 2 innings, I don't think.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
We were, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I mean, we had the national championship table and trophy with all the hats and everything set up, and whenever they went up those 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning, I had, fully expected ECU to be the repeat national champions, and then it was, I believe it was Will, the leadoff guy in the bottom of the 9th, recorded an out, and you had 2 outs remaining, no guys on base, and to me, the nail was in the coffin. But clearly, that wasn't the case for you guys.
Yeah, but if we're all being honest here, I'll be completely honest with you, and I had the same feeling. I sat there. I think it was like a bloop fly ball and was caught easily, if I remember that correctly.
Yes, I believe it was.
And as a former catcher, I've always harped on posture and attitude and not showing your emotions, especially as a catcher. You have to be kind of the calm to the storm as a leader on the field. And I think that was one of the few times all season that I just put my head down in almost defeat. And what was nice was that I knew, I looked to the on-deck batter, and we had very clutch hitters coming up. I think the next guy was Tyler Myers. Tyler Myers had a game-tying double against Pittsburgh earlier in the year that pretty much sparked our offense for the rest of the year. That one double. And so he comes up and he hits a single, and it was reminiscent of that game earlier in the year, much earlier in the year. And, you know, I harped all year, timely hitting, LiDAR pitching, timely hitting, and he had a little bit more timely hitting than even I expected in the situation. It was the guys once again stunned me, which I can't talk enough about. The players on this team, when the occasion came, they rose to it. No matter who it was, no matter what it was, they rose to the occasion.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I mean, it was, my jaw dropped. I mean, it was, you know, whenever you get that leadoff out, I mean, it's such a big out, and then I believe there was 2 walks, and then I think David Klein, you know, I think there was bases loaded. David Klein came up, and it was he flew out to 2 outs, one out left, and I forget the gentleman's name, but he hit a single and scored 2 to tie it up. And then I want to talk about that's it. You know,
D'Estacio hit that single right to the right side. Like I said, I mean, when I saw who the on-deck batter was for that, I was like, oh, this sets up perfectly. I mean, we had a guy, Logan Walden, humming fastballs. I mean, that kid could throw.
Yep.
And the next 2 guys up in our lineup, D'Estacio and Fitzgerald, look at fastballs and see him and hit them right to the right side. And it just, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and I think it kind of mixed right together, and we were both lucky and good that we had 2 great matchups in hitting coming up in that situation.
Absolutely, and want to talk about the MVP, Fitzgerald. Obviously, it's a tie ball game, man on second. I believe I hope he doesn't take offense to this, but not the fastest guy on second base. And he
does not take offense to that. He knows.
and Pat comes to the plate. Obviously, a little less pressure that the game's tied up, but still a ton of pressure that if he hits a single, chances are you guys win the national championship. But talk about Fitzgerald, his performance, just the type of guy he is.
So type of guy, extremely laid back, very confident in his game, but also knows his weaknesses. So I think actually in the press conference, the World Series press conference, he mentioned that he's a very streaky hitter. And at the beginning of the year, he did struggle. So we kind of went with a gut feeling. I had a gut feeling that you know, he was going to, just like every other guy at some situation in the World Series, he was going to rise to the occasion. We put him as our DH in the first game, and I mean, he became the World Series MVP for a reason. It's not like we were just throwing a guy out there. We had all the confidence in him in the world, and I think it's pretty obvious why. I mean, for him to go hit, I think he was easily above 400, very close to 500 in the World Series. I'm pretty sure. I think he hit in like six to seven RBIs, a couple of runs, home runs. I mean, he, like I said, he came up to the plate, and I looked at Pat Carter on second and gave him like a wave sign, like if this ball goes to the outfield, you're going. And he, I think he would have blown through the stop sign no matter if I did throw a stop sign up. But Pat Fitzgerald is can't say enough about him, and the mentality that he had going into the World Series. And I mean, he said it throughout the whole World Series. It's not about the numbers. I mean, he batted close to 200 all year, but it's not about the numbers. And you can have an amazing string of, you can have an amazing year, you know, 10, 15 home runs, and come to the World Series and strike out 5 times, 7 times, or you can do what Pat did. So hats off to him. I mean, he was
Absolutely.
unbelievable.
Absolutely, and have some other questions, but I think we're running out of time. I'm getting the yes, we are. But Brett, thank you so much. It was a pleasure getting to know you this year as the regional director. You guys, in my humble opinion, the North Atlantic West Conference is one of the best, if not the best, in the country, and to win that conference is an accomplishment in of itself. So you guys, you represented the league in the North Atlantic in such a great fashion, and that's mainly due to the leadership of you. Hats off to you, man. Congratulations. I know you got big things going on at Michigan State. I don't know if I think you're moving there pretty soon, so good luck with that. Yeah. And if you need anything, just give me a holler. Tell your dad hello for me, okay?
I will, absolutely. And I have to give a quick shout-out to Joe's sister. I just have to make sure that I got that in there. So shout-out, Joe. You did an amazing job this World Series, and we appreciate it.
Okay, I'm sure he was up to that. But thank you, Brad. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for talking.
See you, buddy. Yeah. Sorry, I kind of bullied that interview.
It's all good.
He's, he was just a great kid that really got to know him at the regionals, and he's just, what you want in a coach, and he did a fantastic job, and really proud that I've kind of a sidebar, but I think that was my 12th year running a regional, and I never had the region that I run had never won a national championship until this past year. So yeah, it was great to see them take it home. I'm sure they're partying up in State College and having all kinds of fun. So hats off to them. Great job.
Yeah. So next question, final polls.
Final polls, and they're online. Penn State is the number one unanimous team, followed by ECU, and I believe Grand Canyon follows that up. The all-region teams are coming out. I believe we got the South Atlantic out, and the Southern Pacific came out today. So those will be coming out for the rest of the week and into, I believe, Wednesday of next week. And we will be picking All-Americans on the 28th and hope to have those released on the 29th of June. So make sure you're checking the website. Lots of cool things coming out. And just to reiterate, LPA's registration forms, those are the most important things we need right now, and to be checking social media and the website. So,
sounds good.
Thank you. I believe we are going to take a commercial break, and we'll be talking about NCBBA basketball.
Rawlings is proud to be partnered with Call Club Sports. If your team is in need of any products that Rawlings has to offer, contact us today. Rawlings, the finest in the field.
Wilson is proud to be partnered with Cole Club Sports. Whether it be footballs, basketballs, or baseball bats from Demery and Louisville Slugger, Wilson has it all. If your team has any needs for Wilson products, contact us today.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome back to Suite 301. We're going to be talking NCBBA basketball. I have the head of the NCBBA here.
Delighted to be here, Christian. Thanks for
Good to have you.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Let's talk basketball.
Let's talk some basketball.
Off season, obviously.
You don't want to talk more baseball?
No, I'm kind of done with baseball right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we
San Diego State, nice job. Penn State, nice job.
Yeah.
I went to the fan store, the National Championship fan store afterwards, and picked up some paraphernalia just for the show. But, yeah, basketball. Hey, basketball championships were a couple months ago, but doesn't mean there's not a lot of action going on right now. Obviously, it's the off season. We're doing a lot of planning for next year. Recruiting, now that we're back from baseball, things on the basketball front, things kind of shut down for about 4 weeks, 3 weeks on the road, and then 1 week of just catching up on mail, voicemails, emails, and so forth. So we're back up and running with the basketball planning for next year. I've signed 2 more teams since we got back from the World Series. Yale and Merrimack, both teams in the New England region. If you're following at home, that's 9 new teams already for next year. Puts us ahead of the pace for last year. And last year we ended up signing, I believe it was 41 new teams last year. So we're ahead of pace for than last year. If you're following along at home, too, you'll notice the New England region is like exploding because I think we've added 5 new teams to just New England alone. So there's going to be some major realignment up there. So, but yeah, got a couple more verbal commitments this week from new teams that working on their paperwork. So I'm excited about that. And they're kind of spread out. Talking to, I got a verbal commitment down in North Carolina, California, and Michigan this week.
Okay.
So, you know me, I don't like to jinx it and give too much detail out until it's the contract.
5-star recruits.
Till the contract's inked.
Yes, of course.
So, but things are going well there, and getting back after the recruiting side of things. Looking at some venues for next year's national championship. Just got notice that IU South Bend wants us back. They've got us penciled in for our dates, so that's going to be an option out there. We got another facility that's very eager. They got the dates available. They've got us penciled in, so they're coming back to us with a proposal. So might have another option. Be more of a Division I level facility, big arena.
Nice.
A lot of empty seats, but a lot of
It's about the experience. For
that
the guys
experience
and,
for the teams, right?
Of
So,
course.
Another big thing that's come out, the rule book. The rules, the voting ballot procedures were released before we left for baseball, but I was able, now that I've been back, I've been able to update the rule book. That's been posted. That's been sent out to all the teams, all the conference coordinators. So there's really 2 major rule changes in there. One is the roster limit is expanded from 15 to 18, and then the other is non-conference games that are played with a stop running clock can now be counted as non-conference NCBA sanctioned games. So, but the rule book is up to date. It's out there. You can download it from the website. Just hit the info tab and documents.
Deadlines. What kind of things?
Deadlines. Right now, we're working on LPAs. It's the theme. Everybody's talking about LPAs. I got new teams. Their deadline's August 1st. The deadline for returning teams has passed. It was June 1st. Got about, half dozen more teams that are straggling to get their renewal paperwork in. So we're harping on them. And, as once you leave campus, it becomes very difficult. You get a hold of the kid and he's like, all right, I'll sign this. Then he can't get a hold of his club sports director. That's why we pushed to get it done before you leave campus. So we got about a half dozen of those that we need to follow up on to get renewed, and then we'll be, set there. Then it's really just going to be keep adding teams all across the summer. Come August, we'll get into the realignment phase. There's obviously going to be major realignment. Now, there's going to be realignment in New England. Basically, New England's growing at a rate that's going to create a 4th conference.
Okay.
But we don't want 4 conferences in New England, so one of them will slide into the North Atlantic most likely, and so forth. So, and we've got, I've added Oklahoma Baptist College, which is kind of an outlier. People might look at the map and say there's nobody around them. I've also got some contacts in their neck of the woods, so that have expressed interest in joining. So I might be forming a new conference out in that area too. So good stuff. Excited to refocus. Now that it took a week and a half just to get caught up on being out of the office for so long.
Absolutely. But, it seems like a lot of things are happening. So another theme is to make sure they're checking the website, checking social media, checking their emails regularly because a lot of information seems to be coming out. So anything else?
That's it on the basketball side.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back to talk about NCFA football.
Fundraiser is the official fundraising platform of Cole Club Sports. Teams have the opportunity to create a free online campaign to begin accepting donations in hopes of reaching their fundraising goals. Please be sure to contact Cole Club Sports for more information on this amazing platform for all of your team's fundraising needs.
Motel 6 is the proud lodging partner of Cole Club Sports. All teams, players, and fans receive 10% off the best available nightly rate. For more information on how to book your rooms, contact Alex Kane today. alex.kane@coleclubsports.com.
Hey, you're that lady I saw on Facebook Live.
Oh, start making this page private so nobody can find me.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to talk a little quick segment on football.
Yeah.
The off season doesn't mean that anything's going on, and in fact, that's often a busy time for us. The teams probably think we're sitting around doing nothing.
Twiddling our thumbs.
Right, exactly. But this is where the dirty planning goes on in the off season. So why don't you take us through what you've been working on the football side?
Yeah, right now we're just kind of trying to figure out conference championships. We got one of our playoff locations figured out, which we're going back to Erie, which we said a couple months ago. Love them out there, John Shoemaker, great people. So we're looking for our second playoff location, hopefully in the Charlotte area. Working on some contacts there, and then teams voted to have their conference championships be hosted at a neutral location. So we're working on that with Middle Georgia, hopefully in that Cochran, Savannah, nobody knows where that is, Statesboro area down in Georgia for the South Atlantic Conference to travel to. Great Lakes, we're working actually with IUSB as well. And Nick Clava out at South Bend to see if we can find something for the Great Lakes to travel to. Unfortunately, that game November 10th is Notre Dame's last home game, so
South Bend will be a zoo.
So we're trying to work around that. And then obviously North Atlantic, they're
North Atlantic's easy.
Number one host, number two. And then for Mid-Atlantic, we're in talks with University of Pittsburgh, hopefully, to host that. I know Scott had a meeting with the club sports department there last week, so we got to catch up with him and see how that's going.
And then for the national championship.
Yeah. Hopefully, we're going to head back to West Liberty University. Gotten some contact back with them in their athletic department. So hopefully, we'll have something officially written down, contract signed, so we don't have to stress about it any longer.
Right. So we get that under wraps so we can make that official so everybody knows what's going on.
Correct.
But it's not a dead time for the teams. The teams just got an equipment survey came out, right?
So that's
Talk to us
actually
about what they need to work on there.
Yeah, we sent that out. That's due this Friday. So please get on that. Only one team or one representative per team should be filling it out. Joe Schaefer, our Wilson guy, will reach out to you.
That's what his business card says, Wilson guy.
Wilson guy. Oh, it's official. He'll reach out to you if more than one of you filled it out with different answers, so we find out what you guys actually do need. So that's biggest, most important deadline happening right now.
And it's important. I mean, we need to get you these game day footballs, but remember, they're custom, so it's not like they're sitting on a shelf and they're just going to ship them to you. They have to make them.
Your name gets printed on it.
Right. So we need to know where you want them shipped so we can place the whole entire order and get the ball rolling. Because it does take, I believe, 6 weeks just to produce the balls.
You got to kill the cow.
Right.
Make the leather.
You got to raise the cow. You got to
give it a name.
Yeah, you name it, take it for a walk, slaughter it, skin it, turn it into a football.
It's got really gross.
And then we need to know where to ship it to. So fill out your survey. It's going to take, if it takes you 5 minutes, get a friend to help you. It shouldn't take you that long.
So yeah, we got that going on. Please get that done with so that Joe won't have to delay your order, because that will be on you. And then again, as always, keep your conference coordinator, whether it's me with South Atlantic, Joe North Atlantic, Scott Mid-Atlantic, and Kenny in Great Lakes. Let us know what non-conference games you're scheduling. My biggest pet peeve is if you contact me halfway through October and tried to add games that happened back in September that you are just now telling me it's going to be tough luck, because we're not going to cherry pick what games we get to add after the game has happened.
Right.
So please just get that in, be in communication. I know it's a little bit dead right now in the summer, but hopefully you guys are doing summer camps and working out. And
they're always thinking football. Football players are always thinking football.
So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now.
All right. So I think that's it for the football segment, right? Can't stretch out the inevitable.
No, cannot.
Time to head to our closing. It's the corporate sign-off.
Yep.
You ready, Rachel? Take us out.
I've never done this before. This is kind of weird. 2 years later. Okay, so that's it for this month.
You wrote it for 2 years in a row. You should know what it says.
That's our show for this month. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Speed 301. As always, don't forget to follow our social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
in our new photo sharing Flickr. Hence Christian's shocked look when he read that.
Next episode, Tuesday, shocker, July 17th, 3:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live. Join us again to catch up on everything that's happening around Coal Club Sports. And don't forget, it's a game.
Have
fun.